y'all. It's time for Rolling Dice and Taking Names. In this episode, the guys review Ark Nova, Virtu, and the Theme board game. Plus, there are highlights from our annual Booby Q, including Ole Guacamole, Cult of the Deep, and Black Angel. I will also be joining Marty in a review of the game Splendor Duel. Last but not least, the guys will review a couple of video games for you. How are they able to do all that? It can't be good, can it? Wait a minute. I'm in it.
Hello and welcome to Rolling Dice and Taking Names. This is episode 271, More Human Than Human. My name is Marty.
And I'm Tony.
Tony, this is one of those songs from White Zombie where the guitar lick in it is very, very memorable. There's kind of a hook in there, and I could have swore it was in a movie or TV show or something, but I couldn't find a reference to it. Do you know if it was ever used in anything?
No, and is White Zombie the same as Rob Zombie? It's
led by Rob Zombie, yes.
Okay, see, I don't know those things. I just know that the reaction we got recently at Booby Q on some song that you did not like, and I could have sworn it was a White Zombie song that you told Alexa, don't ever play that song again. But I probably am wrong.
No, you are. It's the song, Zombie, Zombie, Zombie.
What the heck was that?
That's what I'm saying, that song.
I don't even know that song, and I was trying to remember what it was so I could just, talk about what happened at Booby Q.
Well, what happened?
Well, you yelled at Alexa and said, by gosh, if you ever play that song again, I will end you.
It's by the Cranberries. It was a very popular song. Gosh, back in the early 90s? It's one of those things, the way she just says zombie over and over again. You would know it if you heard it.
Then I don't need to hear. Well, I'm not going to hear it at your house ever. I will say that.
Not after I told Alexa to never play it again.
I didn't know you could do that. I
don't know who picked the playlist. It was like just odd stuff that's being played. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just Halloween songs in general.
It was Nate Bivens. He said something about play the Halloween reverbs. I don't know. He made something and all of a sudden stuff was playing. I don't know.
Well, there was some good stuff in there because we just had our big annual Booby Q, a big annual Halloween party where we get a lot of our friends together, hang out in the basement, play some games. I have some incredible barbecue and ribs made by our good friend Steve Gibbs. It's just a wonderful time and love doing it every year.
It's not we, it is you and your wife host an amazing get-together, one where we all sit there and just have meat sweats from, like you said, all the barbecue and all the amazing stuff, the cheesecake brownies, Donna and her little cake, and then, of course, we had all the chips and snacks, and Bert bringing the sausage balls. Oh, my gosh. It was
bad. We were picking out all day. And get this, dude. Vanessa and I realized last night everybody left. We forgot to bring out our chocolate eclair. It was sitting in the fridge. So there was yet a whole other dessert that we totally forgot to bring out.
Well, then why? Okay, if we're going to sign up, this is where coordination works. I said, I'm bringing a cake.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, that's fine. But hey,
so you usually have a couple desserts.
Oh, but not after you put on 30 pounds of meat.
Well.
That was so good. Man.
Yeah, and basically we got in a ton of games, which we're going to feature.
Really?
A lot of the games that we've played will feature here in the intro. Just give a little bit of synopsis of some of those that we played.
Really? Did we get in a ton of games? We got in some games that took a ton of time.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, you had me probably captive for, as it was pointed out to me when I got home, I was gone for over 12 hours. And she goes, well, how many games did you play? And I go, 3. She goes, wait, what? And I go, yeah, 3. And she's like, oh my gosh, how did you, my wife knows me very well. She said, how did you survive that? And I said, well, it's a good thing they were very entertaining. And the people were entertaining as well. So it was great. I love that. I need to make sure that's on the calendar. So what weekend are we doing it next year?
I'll let you know sometime next year. It'll be in October on a Saturday.
In October on a Saturday. You know how my calendar fills up. I am such a popular person. Me and my attitude.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually we start planning this. I usually send out either late August or September, asking when people are available, and then we usually kind of narrow it down to a couple weeks. So this is the earliest we've ever had it, and Vanessa and I kind of like it in the middle of the month, because usually we have it right at the end, and then Halloween's over, then it's over. Now we still got half a month left of Halloween, well, at the time of this recording, to sit and just enjoy all the other festivities.
And you also got to enjoy all your festivities of decorating that you had.
Yes, we did. And before we started recording, I had to wait a little bit because Travis and I sat down and watched Halloween Kills, which was the second in the latest Halloween trilogy.
I got to hear what you thought about it. My daughter just explained to me. She just saw the new one, and so she was giving us the rundown.
Okay. So I really liked the first Halloween. I thought it was a really cool thing to see Laurie Strode, whatever her name is, back as in character, and along with Michael, seeing them back together like 40 years later. I thought it was a very good story. The second movie, I just didn't like at all. I just did not care for it at all. So we're going to see the third one, but Travis hadn't seen it. So I said, well, let's watch the second one. And as soon as the credits rolled, he looked at me as like 2 thumbs down. So, and the thing is though, unfortunately, I've seen some, like the ratings or Rotten Tomato scores on Halloween Ends, and it's not good there either. So I'm not expecting anything from the third movie.
All right. Well, so from number 2, my daughter said she laughed through the whole thing. It was so bad.
It was bad.
Yep. So she went into this one with low expectations, and she said, Bloomingfield, who did it? Bloomhouse. She said they could only go up, and thank goodness they did. So she enjoyed it.
Good.
She thought it was, well, but she said, once again, you got to consider what I'm measuring against. Really enjoyed 1. Number 2 was awful. So number 3, she was like, okay, they did a good job with it. They brought it back. They brought it back from the dead.
Cool. And afterwards it was over, we was planning on going to the theater, and it's actually streaming right now on Peacock. And Travis said, if you just want to stay here and watch it on that. So what I may do is get like a month subscription to Peacock, which is cheaper than 2 movie tickets and drinks and popcorn and everything, and just watch it on it and then cancel.
As a Spectrum user, I get Peacock for free, and I've yet to sign up for it. I need to do that.
Oh, I signed up for everything for free. Like with T-Mobile, they offered, here, you want Apple TV free for a year? Sure. So I signed up for it. Hey, you want YouTube Live TV for a year for only $54? Sure, I'll take that. So anything they offer for free, I take it. MLB Network or MLB TV for free? Sure, I'll take that.
I know who you're married to. You darn right you're taking that.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, I love all the special offers they have. But yeah. Now you've lifted my hopes for this movie where they were pretty darn low. I'll keep them low just in case.
Keep them low.
Because I have been extremely disappointed with a lot of things I've been watching lately, including Rings of Power and She-Hulk.
Yeah, I read your little Facebook post about Rings of Power. Yeah, I'm like, dang, dude, you convinced me. I do not need to see this. As much as I enjoy Lord of the Rings, I do not need to see this.
Here's the thing. Everybody's like, Marty, you just hate everything. No, I am enjoying House of the Dragon. I think that is a really fine drama. I'm not a big Game of Thrones fan, but I'm enjoying this. And I think Andor, the latest thing that's on Disney Plus, the Star Wars stuff, is really cool because it's so different than anything else they've done. It's kind of a spy thriller. How the rebellion got started has nothing to do with the Skywalkers, so it's all new characters and everything.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm enjoying that. So it's not like I dislike everything, but I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. This is not Tolkien. The lore has been totally destroyed. And it's like, okay, well, maybe I'll just accept it as a really, really interesting fantasy story. It's just, to me, it's not well written. The characters aren't interesting. If you read the books and you watch the trilogy, you know how like travel takes forever? They show them it takes forever to get from one place to another. Here, it's like, all right, we're going to get on a boat and go there. Next scene, we're here. It's like, what? There's no, they lose all sense of time and travel. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, all right, I'll stop because if you're a fan, go ahead.
No. If you're a fan, you don't want to bring them down. But I will if you're a fan of Blue Bloods like me, I was sorely disappointed in the season.
I'm sorry.
I know. I know you're holding back laughter, and I appreciate you for doing that on the Blue Bloods thing. But I'm sorry. I enjoy it's Tom Selleck. I gotta enjoy Tom Selleck. But talked about the time. I was like, is this 1917, the movie 1917? I am so confused on the timeline. I was like, okay, so he's out there at night. He's riding in a cab at night, but yet his son got wounded. Spoiler alert, too late for that. But anyway, but that occurred in the daylight, but yet he's in a cab at night. I'm like, they are all over the place on this opener. And I was very disappointed in my Blue Bloods. I was like, okay.
I'm just going to put a little caveat here. If whether you're a fan of Blue Bloods or Rings of Power, it's just TV shows. It's just a movie. If you like it, I'm glad you like it. I would never try to convince somebody not to like something. It's an opinion. Opinions are not facts. If you think that I'm wrong, that is absolutely okay with me. I just want to put that out there. This is not something to burn down the internet over some heated discussion.
And they're not going to. I mean, it's like when we talk about board games. Not every board game is for you. And matter of fact, we'll be talking about one that is definitely not for me.
Oh, interesting. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I know we usually save our taste buds for the end of the intro, but I am really thirsty. Is it okay if we go ahead and pop this thing open now so I can have it to drink as we talk?
Especially since it's BBQ, and this is Mountain Dew Zero Voodoo 2022, baby. Here we go. Taste buds. Taste buds. Two incredible stars. Taste buds. Two incredible stars. Taste buds. They're just a bunch of.
So you got this for me, right? It's the latest mystery flavor from Mountain Dew, right? They haven't announced what this is as far as what it really is, right?
No, they have not. But be honest with you, I've lost track of time because I got this almost 3-4 weeks ago when they first came out. And so I do not know. I have not gone to the website. I did not want to know. I want it to be a surprise.
All right. So again, every year, or I don't know if it's every year. I know recently that Mountain Dew's been putting out this Voodoo mystery flavor. And at some point in time, they'll reveal what the flavor is. And so what we're going to do is going to pop the top. This is the zero sugar, which I appreciate. So I can drink the whole can as we talk tonight and see if we can figure out what this mystery flavor is.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Ooh, big foam.
Let's see.
Okay.
Well, first we'll do the little smell test.
Ooh, okay. The smell. Okay, didn't hit my palate right.
I don't know what this is.
Almost blueberry-ish to me.
All right, you want to try it? Well,
I got nothing.
I'm getting. Well, at first I was feeling like a blue raspberry, but
that's why I'm right there with you.
But then it's very tart,
almost
like a lemonade type tart.
Yep, very tart. I like it. The smell did nothing for me. It was actually turning me off, but I'm not a raspberry fan, so if it was strong raspberry, I would do that, but I don't know. They got me. I'm confused. I'm befuddled. I don't know.
The first thing hit me with is raspberry. It's the tartness. I'm not sure where that's coming from. Like it almost makes me pucker my cheeks a little bit.
Yeah, it hit the back of the cheeks back there. I was like, whoa, that's a heavy coating back there.
All right. Well, I'm anxious to hear what the answer is, but at least I have something to sip on. And hey, if you're listening and you don't know what it is, give us your guess. You can always head over to our Instagram or Twitter page at Dyson Names. Come and join our Discord channel if you like. And also, we had talked about this a few episodes ago about how we're trying to set up a big game night with Chris, the moderator, used to be with Flip the Table. He's going to do like an online game with us, and that's going to be for everyone who pledges at our highest level at $10 a month or at least $100 a year one-time pledge. And once we get 6 people on board, what we're going to do is we're going to set that up, and you can go over to buymeamoonpie.com to set that up. And if you don't want to do that, we also have lower pledge levels, and you can get some supporter status on the Discord channel. And we have some other ideas for down the road for others backers too.
That's right. And if you click on the subscribe button or on the bell or on the link or the thumbs up or whatever they do with all the videos, I don't know what they say. Click on that subscribe button.
What subscribe button?
I'm just trying to make a poor joke about YouTube. You hear it in every video. Click on the subscribe button.
Well, on our video cast, if you want to follow that, then you should go over to our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button. Because we're once a month, Tony and I are going to get together and have a little video cast. And I'm excited about the next one. I think the idea is we're going to try we got our 10-year anniversary coming up. It's December's going to be our 10th anniversary. And he's already yawning over there. Is it too late for you?
No, that tells you how weak the Mountain Dew is.
The next one we're actually going to look at, right before we started our podcast 10 years ago, the game Netrunner came out from Fantasy Flight. And there is a company who has picked up that series and is doing a print by demand support of the game. They had reached out to us and said, hey, we heard you talking about Netrunner. Would you like to try out our version? So they sent it to us. So Tony, you and I are going to get together, revisit playing Netrunner, and we're going to do a video cast on what's the question going to be? How is Netrunner over the past? Is Netrunner still good after 10 years later or something like that?
Or if we continue with what I'm trying to push for, does Netrunner suck today?
You're really trying to get that clickbait title, eh?
I am. Every one of them, as you're going to mention, I am going to say, does it sucks? There you go. I can't help it.
I know.
If everybody else can use it, I can do it as well.
Also, we got our secret squirrel that's coming up. Every year we do this. This is like a secret Santa, except for us, it's a secret squirrel where we're going to have names divvied up and we're going to send games to each other. We'll have a link in the show notes. We also have a special channel on our Discord channel for going up and signing up. You need to sign up by November 1st, as names will be picked, and send the gifts by December 1st. And like last year, Tony, if you wanted to, we picked a night where we all got together and did a video chat on Discord and opened our gifts together, which was fun.
Well, if you do it, last year I was in Hawaii when you did this. So this year it'll be very hard if we do it anytime before December the 6th.
Okay, we'll do it after December the 6th then.
Okay.
If people can wait. And here's the thing, you don't have to wait. You get your gift, open it, and enjoy it. But if you want to, it was just something fun that we did, just to kind of all hang out together.
I got to put a reminder on the calendar to go do that.
Oh, by the way, just a quick tease. Tony and I love to talk about video games, and we got several things that we want to share. So make sure to listen to our outro segment today. We're talking about a few games, some update on maybe some future gaming for Tony. So make sure to listen all the way through to the episode. And also, you're going to be here about an update on the new Oceans. It's not Oceans Coal or anything. It's just Oceans from North Star Games. They have an update to their digital app, and we'll be sharing with some information about that too.
All right. So now what do we get to talk about? Do we get to talk about games, or do we need people to exercise some more? How long have we been talking? We've been talking for 18 minutes. That's not long enough. We need to come up with something else. Today, as many know, my daughter is going to get married next year. And one of the things is I got to attend a bridal show today. But I thought of you while I was at the bridal show.
Okay,
do you know
weird.
why? It is weird, but here's why. There was a lady there who was talking about, when do you start giving favors to people at at weddings?
I don't know what you mean favors. You mean gifts?
Yeah. When do you, not at your wedding, not at my wedding, did I give anybody anything? And birthday party.
That is a new thing. The first time I ever saw that was at my friend Ed McGill's wedding, who I know that you know because we game together and stuff. And at the end of his wedding, there was like little parting gifts. I went, what is this all about?
What is this? Well, thank you for coming. Save yourself some money. So anyway, she was talking about some favors that they would do, get customized and she was doing these special soy type candles. And I'm not really sure. I wasn't really listening to her because I was smelling all the various candles.
Okay.
I know. And they had some very unique names. They had fall. They had cranberry. They had winter. Some of these smells, Marty, I was like, this is very pungent. I can't imagine. And I know y'all have candles like this. I was like, that's what made me think of you. I was like, man, I bet Marty would like this scent. Vanessa probably would enjoy having this one because they had they were getting their fall Christmas lineup in.
Mm-hmm. I must admit, I do like fragrant candles. In my office at work, I have one of those Scentsy burners where you could put in the wax melts that will have a certain scent. And so I'll drop a new one in and people walk by my office, okay, and they'll sniff and they go, okay, and try to guess what today's scent is.
Okay. And are some people successful?
Oh, yeah. One person walked in the other day, he said, that smells like apple cider. I went, it's apple cider.
We had this apple cider or something candle. And then there was this one, I smelled it and I go, oh my God, that's revolting. And the lady looks at me, well, you shouldn't say things like that to people's product, but it was revolting. She goes, that's my number one seller today. I'm like, okay.
What was it?
It was some type of cranberry mixture. And it was so strong and so fruity. I was like, my goodness. So I got to go do that and got this. Why were there mortgage companies at this thing? There were mortgage companies. Oh, because people are getting married and they can buy a home.
Ding, ding.
Thank you. And then Donna and I won a cruise if we went and listened to somebody talk for 3 hours. So I was like, no, timeshare, not doing that. So that's why we didn't record earlier today, by the way.
Oh, that is absolutely fine. I'm enjoying recording right now.
Are you?
I guess. Got nothing else to do.
I appreciate you being in a better mood from last episode.
Was I in a bad mood last episode?
You weren't in a bad mood. You were just in a weird mood. It was kind of like I was dragging words out of there. You were leaning on me to carry conversation, which is very unusual. So you should not do that.
My bad. Here, you want me to carry a conversation? Now we'll talk about some games that we got to play yesterday.
Okay, let me check our time. Yep, 22 minutes. That's good. Somebody can take a break, take a drink. Okay.
Danny from
Ashet Board Games
sent us a game that we got to see at Gen Con. This is from publisher Scorpion Mask and designer Mr. Sandance, because I'm not going to get his first name correct. Tony, this is a little party game that we saw. We just immediately fell in love with. It's called Ole Guacamole. I don't know why it's themed that way. People are asking, why does it have to do with it? It has nothing to do with guacamole. Look, they just came up with the name, okay? And it's a deck of cards. They're all shaped, the deck is shaped like avocados. And there are most of these cards have one letter, maybe you'll have two letters on there. And you just sit around the table with friends. It plays 2 to 8 players. Person flips over a card, and let's say it's the letter L. Just throw out a word that does not contain the letter L. The next person flips over a card, and let's say it's the letter M. That person must say a word that's somehow connected to that last word that was said, but doesn't contain the letters L or M. This will continue around the table, flipping over cards, and if anybody ever goes beyond the 12-second limit of being able to say a word or says a word that contains one of the letters on the table, they collect all the cards. You go through the entire deck. Once the deck is empty, whoever has the least amount of cards collected is the winner of the game. That's it. It's that simple, but it's a blast to play.
Yes, and it's surprising how quickly your brain just freezes on you. Now, and we weren't even playing it on hard mode. And what do you mean hard mode? We had the 12-second timer, but we were not starting the clock as soon as the next person turned. We let that person think for a little bit and then flip over because it was new. We had a learning game here. But it is just, and we were all sitting there trying to think of words, because you could watch us, words that may trip up the next person.
Right.
And there are special cards that can either reverse the direction, or you have to say two words at that time, or maybe you can call someone out and have them say the next word, or you skip over to the next person and they have to do it. So it's not just letters. There's some other interactions. So yeah, it's the Nuno thing.
Yeah,
but yes,
it is.
Yeah.
And after you left, that's the last game we played of the night.
How'd it go?
Well, it went well. We played a game of it, and everybody said, all right, just set that up and do it one more time. So we played because it goes so fast. I mean, it plays like 15 minutes at the most. So fun little party game. It's a small box. Again, this is from Scorpion Mask, and our good friends at
Ashet Board Games
is bringing it to the U.S. to have available, and it's available right now or available soon. But yeah, this is one of those highlights that we saw from Gen Con. I'm glad to see it finally coming out. Ole Guacamole.
Ole Guacamole. Very cute. Now, when we finished up one of our big games, I didn't want to start up the next big game. So I said, okay, I need to get going here. So a couple of us paired off and we played a game that I've had in my collection for a while, but I've never had the opportunity to play. But someone brought it, Kevin brought it, and it was called Black Angel. Now, Marty, have you ever seen this one?
I have seen it, but have not played it.
It is, what's the best way without me going into the rules? You remember the game Pulsar, what was it, 2049, 28? So,
Yeah,
you know the Pulsar game?
Loved it, yes.
The dice manipulation and things like that.
Loved it.
This is very similar.
Oh.
Okay. It was definitely a learning game. I would want to play it again. Maybe you and I can get a chance to play, but what you're trying to do is you are trying to buy technology. So on your turn, you have you can do this sequence or you can do the B sequence, which is basically the reset sequence.
Mm-hmm.
But sequence A, you're going to play a card that's going to activate tiles in your tableau. It's a 3x3 tableau. And you're going to do the actions on those tiles, provided the color of the cards you play on the row or column matches the color of the tile. Simple. And there are some cards that are wild, so that would activate all of them. That's how you're going to be doing some things, collecting resources or getting your AI robots into your base. That's the gist of the game. That's how you're generating your resources.
Okay.
Then you're going to take one of the dice that's in your storage area, and it's either a yellow, blue, or green dice, and you will take an action with that, which will let you play a card from your hand, which are the cards that you could play on your tableau. So you have to decide which card you want, and you can put that out in space, and that's a way to generate points.
Mm.
Or maybe you want to defeat the bad people that are coming, that are attacking, because they're infecting the board. And in doing so, that gives you the wild cards. So that was kind of ingenious to me. When you defeat these bad people, they go into your hand, and they are now the wild cards that allow you to play. So you're sitting there doing this engine building, trying to upgrade your technology. During the whole time, anytime anyone resets their area, it advances the Black Angel spaceship towards the planet you're trying to get to, and that's your round counter. So you're building a engine, you're placing cards out on a table that generate your victory points, and you're having to rinse and repeat with a very simple action, which is you're controlling the end of round. All the players are controlling the end of round. I think you would really enjoy this.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe if we get ever a chance, we'll get that on the table. Maybe on a big day or something where we have some time. This is one of those games that how did we not talk about it sooner? How did we not play it sooner? It got washed under the rug.
And it was
under the rug.
It was a popular game. I looked it up. It came out in 2019 from a company called Pearl Publishing, and Asmodee carries it now. And I remember when it came out, I remember seeing it played and talked about a lot. So yeah, I'd like to check it out. I like dice manipulation games.
Yeah, it's one of those games we could resurrect.
Yeah, you can go back and check out. Speaking of dice manipulation, I got to play a game that I got shown at Origins called Cult of the Deep. This is from BA Games, and this is a hidden faction type game. And if you've ever played Bang the Dice game, it's a lot like that. Have you ever played that, Tony? Bang the Dice game, where somebody is the sheriff and you have the deputies, renegade.
It's been a long time.
The concept of this is the same thing, where there's a high priest. Everybody has their roles, and there's a certain way to win the game. High priest is just trying to stay alive. The cultist is trying to kill the high priest. There's a faithful person that will win as long as the high priest survives. There's a person who's just wants everybody else to die. The different roles are dependent upon the number of players. It plays 4 to 8 players. The play is very simple. You got 5 dice. You're going to roll them, and you can keep whichever ones you want. Re-roll twice. The final 5 is what you got to use. And those dice are used to possibly deal damage to somebody, maybe heal yourself, or activate one of the powers of the rituals. And this was the thought. This is where I got interested in it, because in the middle of the table, there are these ritual cards that come out, and each of the rituals has a certain die face that could be assigned to it. And if you do, you get to activate the ability of that ritual. And there's a whole deck of ritual cards. Each ritual can be used a certain amount of times based on the number of players. And once you've used it that many times, a new ritual comes out. So you're going around the table trying to determine who is who and deals some damage, heal yourself, etc., with the goal of trying to meet your win condition. Now, I was super excited about this, and I enjoyed it as I was playing it, but it was one of those things that lasted longer than what I wanted it to.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I thought was interesting is that when you heal yourself, you can go above your max health. And as soon as we realized that, I don't know if you've played Magic. Like, you know, in Magic, you can go above your max health.
Okay.
And so there are these decks that could be built where your health is so high, it's just you're so hard to beat, and it just makes games last longer. And that's what the High Priest just kept raising his health pool so high he was hard to get to, sort of deal. Knocked out one cultist, then I got knocked out. And then all of a sudden you're left, it ended up being between Vanessa and Bert, which is the High Priest, and Vanessa was the person who was trying to just be the last to survive. I will say this, what's interesting is it's not elimination, because if you're killed, you come back as a Wraith. And a Wraith will have 3 die that they can use to help out players at the table. They'll still roll, but they'll have them in their pool, and each Wraith have a certain ability, like, here, I can give you a die on your turn, or I can spend a die of this type to cancel a die that you're getting ready to use of the same type. So at least you stay engaged the whole time, which I really appreciated. I love the theme because it's very Cthulhu theme. So if you like Bang the Dice game, want to try something that's in the similar vein, you might want to give this a shot. Again, it kind of went longer than what we wanted to on the table with 5 of us, but we still. The production is amazing. The dice.
Those dice were pretty.
Very pretty dice. The ritual boards have little, it's dual layer boards for putting the little cubes to count the number of times you use it. The art is absolutely stunning. So I got to see it Origins. Glad I got to try it out. Cult of the Deep from BA Games. So Tony, that was kind of quick hits of some of the games that we've played. However, there are 2 games that we kind of want to feature in this episode that we played yesterday. So let's do a quick word from one of our sponsors, and we'll come right back to them. All right, y'all. You're going to start hearing about this a lot, but you got to start getting prepared. I don't know when it's happening, but every year there's always a big Black Friday sale. Well, that was kind of a stupid statement. I don't know when it's happening, but every year there's a Black Friday sale. So, logically... I
wonder if it happens on a Friday, Marty.
Logically, you would deduce that a Black Friday sale would happen on Black Friday, which is the day after Thanksgiving here in the U.S., so... Wow. Okay. Yeah, they always have really amazing sales. It's ridiculous just how every week there's always a big sale of something. Like I'm looking at it right now, there's 30% off clearance items. And you know why they're probably doing 30% off clearance items? So they can make room in their warehouse for all these games from Essen that are getting ready to come out that are on pre-order right now, and to make sure they have enough stock set up for all the big sales that they're going to have for Christmas. So please go sign their mailing list and get updated when a big sale comes out. And you can do that over at miniaturemarket.com. This segment is sponsored by Game Toppers, which is a good thing, Tony, because we're getting ready to talk about Ark Nova, which was a table hog. And thank goodness we had the big old Game Topper mat on my large gaming table to be able to beautifully display all the cards and the game board for this game. I'm telling y'all, if you might want to go check out GameToppersLLC.com if you're going to want to play Ark Nova, to get one of their larger Game Toppers, because this game takes up a lot of space, and if you got space already, then check out their game mats, because it's nice playing on this big, large mat to spread out this large game. Yeah, if you want to go find out more, go check out GameToppersLLC.com, and if you want to find out more about Ark Nova, Tony's going to tell you about it.
I'm going to tell him about it. Oh, yeah, like you made me do the teach of Ark Nova. Okay, fine. Well,
and I appreciate that. That thing was a beast, dude. You did a really good job on the teach of Ark Nova.
I don't know about that. You always get through it, and there's these little things, but we always know that about any games that we do, right?
Yeah.
So this, of course, like if anybody needs to know what this game is, this is Ark Nova, Capstone Games. Designer is Matthias Wiggy, Wigge, Wiggy, Buck Rogers. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
Okay, thank you. All right. First off, 303 videos in Board Game Geek for Ark Nova.
Yeah.
Over 1,880 posts in the forum. 83 individual files for this game.
Jeez. Now, I will say, y'all, we are hitting this game late. I know that you've probably heard every other reviewer and content creator go over this game ad nauseum. And you're probably going to think, what can you guys add to the discussion? Absolutely nothing. But we'll at least give you our thoughts on the game, because I'm sure there are others that have had way more insight to this game, or be a little bit more, talk about the game more intelligently. But we could tell you our thoughts on the game. And I'm excited, Tony, because everybody has said this is their game of the year. I said, all right, we got to try this, because if it's everybody's game of the year, we got to see what everybody's talking about.
And this is one of the games that I picked up. It was on sale at Miniature Market, I believe, or some deal. And I said, well, I heard a lot about this, especially from everybody has talked about it from a 2-player aspect. And that I said, well, Donna and I, that's 2 players. I think I should give this a try. I've also heard it's not as meatier. In our Discord channel, Chevy Dodd, good friend, was sitting there talking about it a lot, talking it up. And so were a lot of people. Mm-hmm. If you've had your head in the sand like an ostrich, which they don't really do that, by the way.
And there's an ostrich in this game, I think, probably somewhere.
I'm sure there is.
Oh my gosh, the number of cards in this game is ridiculous. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, and it's kind of like the teach. You and Nate were just going back and forth with one another about you. You were catching up and doing all that kind of stuff. I'm just looking at y'all going, what are you doing? What are y'all doing over there? But anyway.
Sorry. Yeah. We met. That was the first game of the day. We hadn't seen like Nate in a while. So we were talking and trying to catch up and stuff. Tony's like staring at us. Can I teach the game now? It's like, sorry. Go ahead. 5 actions, 5 cards. And there's one action with cards, which allows you to get new zoo cards into your hand. Build, which allows you to build containment centers for enclosures, kiosks, pavilions, things like that, that you could take. You can put your animals in your zoo. You can go do the association, which allows you to associate to other zoos or do conservation projects. And then there's these special sponsor cards, which are mixed in with the animal cards, that allow you to raise money for your zoo or raise special items, victory points at the end. So when I was teaching this, I led off with how to calculate the victory points at the end, because Marty, first off, I thought this was unique, and I never understood why people were sitting there having negative points at the end of the game. I didn't understand it. There was a game that we played, many years ago. Oh, it just left me what it was called. It was kind of a city building game, and points were always low when they were negative because it was hard to get in the positive. And I thought it was going to be that same sort of thing, but it's not. I love the scoring and how the scoring works in this game and how the end of the game is triggered. I thought this was really clever.
Right. So you take your appeal, and then you subtract out.
You take your pill, P-I-L-L.
How appeal? I said
appeal. A-P-P-E-A-L. Okay.
Listen, I put up with this from Donna in my southernness.
No, you said it fine. I could have swore I didn't hear the A when you said uphill. I thought you said you take your pill. And I thought it was getting too late and we had to be taking our senior citizens pills or something.
I should have taken a pill before I started playing that game.
Anyway, sorry. Your appeal marker, your score. Yes, go ahead.
How appealing your zoo is.
Yes.
Versus what type of conservation person you were. Mm. And you subtract that, which is based on the appeal where your conservation racket. Anyway. So I was like, okay, I need to explain this to everybody so that they know that and know that there's some in-game scoring.
Now, it will take a while for us to figure out how that worked, about how you had these 2 scoring tracks on the board, and you have a marker for each of the scoring tracks. And when the game is triggered, you explain you're going to take the value of where this marker is and subtract the value of where this marker is. And then we quickly went, oh, so we're starting out with a lot of negative points right in the beginning, right? So you got to take one marker and move it up as high as you can in value, and you're trying to get the other one as low as you can in value, right? So that when they pass by each other, then you'll be in the positive at that point.
It's in the game. And then you and Nate started going in on, well, where's the break-even point? Where does it look good? I'm like, oh, okay, fine.
Well, we did find the break-even point, so...
I just know the break-even point when I was nowhere near it. So I guess also for me, Marty, is I did not recognize, even though there's over, 300 videos on this thing, just how hard the conservation track is, which is one of the ones, how to move the conservation. I was not understanding that. I was getting behind and I was getting worried, and that I knew I was going to have a huge amount of negative victory points. Now, did you find the conservation track difficult?
No, I found the conservation track easy.
Yeah, you suck.
No, well, but here's the thing. I was struggling on the appeal track. I wasn't getting a lot of animals put into my zoo. It's the animals that give you appeal. I was trying to set up this really cool engine. It kind of worked at one point. I actually got to trigger an engine that was a really satisfying turn. But I wasn't getting the animals into the zoo. And each time you put an animal into the zoo, it'll probably give you appeal points. Instead, I was taking these other actions that was driving up my my conservation. I see where you struggled. And about halfway through the game, I realized, holy cow, I've really got to start putting more animals. Now, we didn't mention this. Everybody has their own tableau. So it's a little hex map. And you actually take buildings and you build different shaped buildings of a size 2 hex, 3 hex, 4 hex, 5 hex. And then the animals require a certain size containment to be put into. So you may get a hippopotamus to say, well, if you got a hippopotamus card, it needs to go into a size 5 containment. So you can build a building action to take one of those 5 sizes, put it on your board. Then you can put the hippopotamus into it and like put your marker to indicate, okay, there's an animal in this containment. So that's kind of how all that works together. And I really like each person building their own zoo, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yes. And so the animal action, all what you can do is to determine based on the strength of the card based on where it is on your tableau. That was the other, I don't think that's unique. I couldn't think of something. There's other games similar to that, right?
Now, you talking about how the 5 action cards work in strength?
Yeah, they work in strength. They're in your tableau, and there's numbers, and they're underneath
Civilization New Dawn.
That's right.
It was like, I said, holy crap, this is Civilization New Dawn. And who was it that said, who acknowledged it was Nate. Nate said, yep, this is exactly like I said. Holy cow, I love this action selection. So those 5 actions you always have, and they're ordered 1 through 5. The higher value that you take that action, it's more powerful. As soon as you take it, you move it all the way down to the 1 spot and shift everything up 1 to the right. So you take an action, it shifts to, and then it's not as good anymore. But as long as you keep taking actions that are after it, it'll start going up again. Just like Civilization New Dawn, which I absolutely love. But Tony, I also love the fact there are several spots on the board where you can take one of your actions and flip it over to the 2 side, and then the action's even more powerful.
And we still, and someone can correct us, we could only find where you could upgrade 4 of the 5 cards. And there may be 5. I couldn't find it. I don't know where it was, but you can't.
On the boards, we all looked and saw 4 spots, whether it be covering up spots on your board or passing certain, or taking your conservation marker and passing certain points on the conservation track. As you moved up the conservation track, you get little bonuses. One of them was to be able to flip one of your cards to the 2 side. That's an example of that.
Which is something I want to point out. That's the first thing on the conservation you pass. You have a choice. You can either release one of your associates, you hire a new associate, or you upgrade a card. That seems like you always want to upgrade your card. And the reason for this is because in order to do certain things in the various, either the build or the association or the sponsor, you've got to have those cards upgraded to go to the next level.
Perfect example of this is the building. So to build like a large aviary or the big reptile, you have to have a building flipped to the 2 side to even unlock that ability.
Right. Or put it on a certain place on the map. One thing I like about the maps were, even though you all play the same maps, there were a whole bunch of maps in the board. And I like the fact that, hey, you just can't place all your tiles wherever. You've got to account for rocks and water, and some of the animals required to be next to a rock and be next to water, or better yet, they need to be next to 2 rocks. So you've got to figure all that out.
Yes. And also like there were different maps. That's really cool. So you could start with a different map every time, and you have to lay out your zoo a little bit differently. I also really loved how the phase, you played through the phases of the game, but there was a break time marker that every time you took one of the actions, it would move the break marker up 2.
Mm-hmm.
And once it moved up a certain amount of numbers on the track, depending on the number of players, you stopped play, and then you did some resolution stuff. You did some cleanup stuff, and then you actually went through an income phase to where if you've gotten some cards into play that allow you to get some incomes or unlock spots on your tableau that gives you some income, then that's another way to maybe generate victory points, generate money. And also, this is where if you have a kiosk on your maps, you're going to get income based on the different types of buildings or containments that are around your kiosk. So I like that thing. Wasn't a set time of when that happened. It's just eventually when the break marker hit a certain point on the track, everything just kind of stopped and we did kind of a reset.
And it was good to take a break from all that planning, from all that strategy. Getting cards, getting the animals or the sponsors, you had the capability. Now, I don't know if you liked that mechanism where when you took the card action, you could either draw from the top, and depending on the strength of the card, or you could do a thing called snapping, which lets you take a card in your reputation area, which is something we haven't mentioned. You also are building up reputation, which gives you access to the various cards based on snapping. But also you had to build your reputation to unlock other things. And So it's like any other game, and I hate to say it, it's like any other game where you are moving stuff to unlock special actions that will help you advance your zoo, advance your next turn as you continue to play the game to try to score the most victory points over everybody else.
And the end of the game is triggered as soon as one person's markers pass each other on the scoring track.
Yeah.
As soon as that happens, that person basically just took their last turn. Everybody gets one more turn, and then the game's over, and then you evaluate. The end of the game scoring is really simple. There might be some cards you have in play that gives you some in-game scoring points, and after that, you just take your 2 markers on the board, subtract one from the other, and then that's your total. And for us, I think, what was the high score? Was it 20-something points?
I think Nate got 20-something points. I had minus 17. I was the dark horse. Yep.
And I had like minus 5, -6, something like that. And I think Bert was in the positive too. So now after playing it, I see, that's why scores are so low.
Mm-hmm. And do we understand why everybody likes it so much? Now, you and I both have one beef with the game.
Yep.
Yeah, we do. Nothing against the game. Yeah. Well,
we have one beef with the game. Nothing against the game. Well, I guess we do.
The biggest thing for 4 players was that game was on the table way too long for me.
Yep, I agree.
Way too long.
I agree. After the teach, it was 3.5 hours. By the way, this is just our thoughts after one game because, again, y'all have heard ad nauseum from everybody else about this game. So this is just our quick thoughts on it. If we played this again immediately, even if we cut 30 minutes off the play time, 3 hours I felt was still too long.
It was long. I don't know why I felt that. Maybe it began to get I hate to use the word repetitive, but maybe that's what it was. I needed to do this. I need to do this action to then increase my appeal or decrease my or increase my conservation. I will admit, one thing I did not do well was to get, because we even said this, I don't see where the engine building is, but Nate had an engine. Certain cards, he was able to get certain cards that gave him, when I did this kicked off this call. You'd had that as well. I did not do that. I kept drawing freaking animals. I never got a petting zoo on the thing. You would not want to come to my zoo because I did not allow you to have pet any animals.
Yeah, that's one of the things where you can combine things. It's like you almost want to focus on something. I had a petting zoo to where every time I got another petting zoo type animal on the board, there was one that said, hey, you're going to get 3 appeal points for each one you have in play. It gave me like 9 points, which was pretty big. I also had these cards where it was about aviaries. Hey, if you got all these birds, you get something special. Oh, we didn't mention, there's also the animals have to be in certain continents. So you have to unlock certain continents, and there's also requirements. Most of the cards have a certain requirement to play. It's like, okay, to play this card, you need to be showing like 2 other cards in play that have the North American emblem on it to even be able to play it, sort of deal. So there's these cost requirements with like not only money, but having other power or icons in play to be able to even put those cards into play. Yeah. So you start out with smaller animals, and then over time, as you have more of these on the table, it gives you the ability to play bigger cards. Here's the thing. The whole time I was playing, I was enjoying myself, But then after it was over, it's like, when will I have a chance to play this again? This is not a McAllister's game for us. The table is just too big for the table, and there's no way we could get it in 3 hours. That's where I wish I can experience this same type of game in 90 minutes to 2 hours, and it would be absolutely perfect for me.
And I kept hearing Bert talk about terraforming Mars and how it compared to terraforming Mars. Now, it has been a few days since I played Terraform. I mean, it's been a long time.
It's been
since I've
years for me.
Yeah, years for me. So I have no reference to terraforming Mars. I want to try it with Donna. I think it is a game that she can understand. So that's a big positive. She's not a heavy Euro, heavy type gamer like that. And I can teach it to her in such a way that by just doing with those simple actions, she can get the gist of it. Now, can she pull off the combos? Can she she understands set collection because she plays Ticket to Ride. She understands all that. That, I think, is what is the brilliance behind the game, is all the underlying concepts we've built on, and I think it's an easy one for her to grasp.
2 players has to be shorter.
Has to be.
So I can't wait to see how long it takes for you playing 2 players. So if you look at the playtime on BGG, they say 90 minutes to 150 minutes. That 150 minutes is 4 players. So if you could get into a 2-player game in 90 minutes, that's really good.
I agree. So that was Ark Nova and our thoughts. Any parting shots, Marty, on this game?
No parting shots at all. 2 things I thoroughly enjoyed. The action selection mechanism. I love having those 5 cards. I love how they vary in power from 1 to 5. When you use one, it slides all the way to the left. Love that. Love the scoring. I love the 2 markers on the scoring tracks. Start out heavily negative, and your goal is try to get them to where one's a lot further beyond where the other is, so you have positive points in the end. Those were the 2 big standouts for me that I really enjoyed. What about you?
So for me, I cannot wait to discover the 3,000 cards that came with the game.
3,000. So I looked it up. It's 255 cards.
That stack seemed like...
It seemed bigger than 255, but yeah.
It did seem big. There was a lot of combos to explore, to discover on my own. I'm excited about that. I think this is one that will make it easy for me to get on the table later with Donna, because I've always been daunted to try to play Terraforming Mars with her. So I think this one, based on its theme, I'm excited for that. And yes, this was one that I took a flyer on based on all the craziness, all the hype for it. So am I sad that I spent all that money, or am I glad that I spent the money? I am very glad that I spent the money on this.
5-minute initiative begins in 3, 2, 1.
Tony, I know you don't like hidden roll games, and I made you sit down during BBQ and play one with 8 players. And the game that we played was The Thing, the board game. This is not the same game as The Thing, Infection, and Outpost 31. I know that you see them, they're going to look a lot alike. They are totally different. So we played The Thing, the board game, from Giuseppe Cicero and Andrea Crespi from Pendragon Game Studio, and brought here to the U.S. from Ares Games. Again, this plays 1 to 8 players, 60 to 90 minutes. Well, it took longer than 90 minutes with 8 players.
Gosh, oh my!
At the gist of this, I'm going to talk about an 8-player game. There are 7 humans on the. If you've seen the movie The Thing, you're stuck in the outpost in Antarctica. There's one person who is the Thing. Their goal is to infect as many people as they can and kill the humans. The humans are just trying to keep the base running long enough in order to call in the helicopter, send out a SOS to get the helicopter there, so they can get the humans on board the helicopter without any other aliens and get out of there alive.
And the actions are simple. Everybody's going to go to a room, and they're either going to repair something, or they're going to use something, or if you're the alien, you're going to sabotage something.
Exactly. So you're going to be having, you have 3 cards that you're going to be dealt. Those cards can be either use, which is to use the action of the room. Say, for example, it's to add fuel to the boiler room, or it's to add food in the pantry, or in order to call the SOS out to the helicopter, or to repair, because over time there's going to be damage that's done to different areas of the room that allows you to remove damage markers. So you're going to move to one of those rooms, take one of the cards from your hand, Put it in front of the leader. One person is designated as the leader. Every person is going to do that. Right after that, you're going to have an encounter phase. This is the interesting part of the game, Tony, because if you're in the room with somebody else, you've got 2 tokens that you will present to the other person. If you are human, the 2 tokens must be, say that each of the tokens must be the human tokens. They're going to pick one up and look at it and say, okay, you're a human. If you're the thing, you can either put 2 human tokens, or you could put a thing token and a human token. And if the other person picks the thing token, instantly they're affected and their role is now gone from human to be a thing. And the whole goal of their game has changed from trying to get off the island to try to infect other people.
Hey, you also got to search for items and weapons. All right. There's a picture of me with my head down
Hold on,
the table.
Let me just finish. Keep your head on the table just for a second. Because then this is kind of like a lot Battlestar Galactica. All those action cards that were collected, the leader takes, shuffles them, then flips them over one at a time and resolves them. It could be use, repair, or sabotage. He has to assign one to each of the people around the area. In each of the rooms. It may not be, somebody may go into the room in order to use something, and he said, well, you know what, you're not going to use it. Instead, you're going to do a repair. So the leader makes all these decisions. And then after that, everybody comes back to the leisure room and can start making accusations against each other. And if a person is accused enough, it drives their suspicion token all the way to the top of the track, where then they have to play all their cards face up at that point. Or you could just do a test. Tony, that's what you're talking about. You get flamethrowers and a wire. You can do a test on somebody, just like in the movie, to see if they're the thing, where they have to reveal their role to expose them. And exposed aliens basically just run around and wreak havoc once they're exposed. So that's kind of the whole gist of the game. You're playing through this. The crap is hitting the fan on the island. Humans are just trying to keep it going, and the aliens are trying to get as many of as you can.
We're out of time based on the explanation. So that's it for the 5-minute initiative, and I'm good with that. That's how I feel.
Weren't a fan of it, huh? You don't like those types of games.
So everybody said he must have been an alien because he got excited near the end. And it was kind of like, we got to speed this game along. 8's way too many. I'm sorry.
8 took a long time. 8 did take a long time. It would probably be better 5 or 6. Is probably better for this. It does feel like Battlestar Galactica or a Dead of Winter. Very much so, those types of games. I just do think the interesting thing over Battlestar Galactica is you can actually infect somebody else. You can have an interaction with them and they turn on your team. And that's exactly what happened. So I was a thing, and the last interaction I had with 2 people, I converted them. And then the very last thing you do is, when the helicopter is there, the person with the least, that's lowest on the suspicion track, gets on the helicopter and then decides if the next lowest suspicion can get on the helicopter with them. And if he allows them, then they must decide together to elect the next lowest person on the suspicion track to get on. When it came to me, they said, we think Marty is an alien. I said, well, I think I'm a human. I should be able to get on the helicopter. Nope. But what they do is they took the guy after me that I just infected. He got on the helicopter. He was an alien, and aliens win the game. So at the end, it was very climactic and cool, though.
The dog infected me.
Didn't mention the dogs. There are dogs roaming around, and you reach your hand into a token. There's only 2 infected dog tokens in the bag out of 9, and a lot of us pulled and got infected by the dog. That's how I got infected.
Mm-hmm. The alien never infected any of us. Matter of fact, the original alien left. He had to go home.
Because we were running long. I did. As an alien, I infected other people.
You got Mark. That's all you got.
Yeah. Well,
we went through there. Yeah. You got Mark. True. And so, yes, I'm not a big fan of these games. And it isn't because it's not a good game or anything. It's just my play style.
Yeah.
Sitting there arguing over, well, who do I think's this and who do I want that? There's not enough information out there.
Yeah.
There's not. No.
And you were very consistent. You didn't like Resistance. You just don't like those style of games. It does have a Dead of Winter feel to it because things are breaking down. You got to keep the food going and everything like that. For me, I think I would probably want to play Dead of Winter over this one. I would like to try it with a number of people and see if it goes smoother, though, and quicker.
I mean, the game's beautifully produced. Oh, my heavens. This game is amazing. I don't want to say it was a game where like some of the games where I just cannot stand them. I would do this one again, especially now that I know the rules. I think that's the other thing. you've got to slog through a lot of rules for such a simple game, like how the various weapons work and how the various testing works. You've got to really slog through that. And so you got to get that out of the way.
Yep.
Once that's out of the way, I think the game could be more enjoyable and it would become more interactive and a lot more discussion going on.
Yeah, no, that's true. It did take a while. Then you have to explain what all the rooms do and how they work and everything like that. So the teach is kind of involved. So if you like these style of games, if you like the hidden role games, I think thematically it's cool. A lot of the people sitting at the table had not seen the movie, so they just weren't getting some of the thematic stuff, the tests and everything. If you've seen the movie, I think it plays exactly like the movie. That's the thing, the board game brought to us over to the North America by Ares Games from Pendragon Game Studio. Hidden role game just came out this year. Again, this is not the other thing game that everybody refers to. This is brand new. And if you think this might be interesting to you, just know the rules kind of a bit to get through. Play with less than 8 players, and you'll probably have a good time.
5-minute initiative is complete.
Portal Games US. That's where you go and find all them Portal games. All the good games. We mentioned it earlier about the digital version of Hiroshima Hex. Still one of our favorite board games. Go check that out. Brazil. It's coming. It's been promised. We know it's coming. Get those pre-orders in. But go to the Portal website. Go ahead and say, hey, get me a Brazil copy here in the US. I'm really excited for that game. I played it at Gen Con. It's been a while, but I want to get it back to the table. I think I can still remember it. Basilica, 2-player game. While Marty and I are sitting there waiting for the others to show up on game night, it's always nice to have a good 2-player game to just throw out on the table. Oh, which is what, of course, Hex is. But this game will take less time because Marty and I are kind of slow in placing our tiles for Hiroshima Hex. Oh, and then, of course, we've talked about Robinson Crusoe multiple times and being able to survive the island. So if you need a good co-op game or you want to introduce your friends this Christmas, think of a Christmas gift, Robinson Crusoe. Oh, but wait, there's always time to be the cheap detective with the detective series and Halloween theme, a game Marty and I have yet to play, but someday we will. Stronghold Undead. All those games can be found over at portalgamesus.com. So at our typical gaming nights at McAllister's, we will sometimes look at games and say, that's a good one for us to try. That's one of those that we're getting ready to go do. Seems simple enough. It's got some meat to it. We're going to put this on the table. And when I told Marty that the next game that we're going to play at McAllister's Gaming Night was a Rondell type game called Virtu, The Art of Governing from Super Meeple, designed by Pasquale, I think this is Ribrault. He was like, we got a Rondell? I'm in.
Oh, all in. All in. Yes. And the Rondell portion of this game did not disappoint at all. It was very different, and I loved it.
And every person had a different Rondell. We all didn't have the same one.
Yeah, there are cards that you put on your Rondell to start with, and everybody may have started with different cards.
Mm-hmm. And where the actions on the Rondell. Now we're getting ahead, but I want to point that out is that everybody's Rondell, the actions that are in this game were on different places and in different locations on there. So what you were doing versus what I was doing in the sequence of those events was different. It didn't make a hill of beans, though, to be honest with you, where they were. It was just different.
But what was cool was you could change your sequence. That's what really stood out to me, because you have a tableau and the actions for your Rondell are established by cards that you have in each of the 5 places on your Rondell. There's a way during the game to reorganize your Rondell to move cards around. So all of a sudden you can change the order in which the actions appear on the Rondell. That's the really sweet part to me.
And like we were talking about Ark Nova and the teach on this, I got to teach this one and I warned them. I said, all right, there's 6 actions. The actions are very straightforward.
Is there 6 or 5?
There's actually 6 actions, but there's 5 on your board.
Got it. Okay.
And I said, these actions are straightforward. However, there's all these little things underneath these actions. For instance, because the one you were thinking about was trade. Trade is not on anybody's rondel, but it's the way to generate money based on the number of ships you have from your cards. So you would gain money based on the number of ships. And that's something you can add, but you're covering up one of the other 5 actions.
Now, you said I didn't have trade, but I could go to the market and get a card that would give me the trade option.
That's right. So how does the game play? You have your rondel marker.
Yep.
You can move it 1 or 2 spaces, or you could pay gold to move it, or what was the money called? Not florins, maybe florins. I can look it up here in a second in the rule book. But anyway, you could pay to advance it even
florin,
farther.
very good.
Thank you. You could advance the marker 1 or 2 spaces, and then where you stop, you perform the action. Now, I mentioned trade. The other 5 actions are govern, sponsor, trade, annex. Let's say trade again. Annex, wage war, and my favorite, scheme. I don't know how you want to do this with the 5 actions to bore people on all the various actions.
Well, let's just not go through them and list them. Let's just talk about them as we talk about the game. So,
all right.
So what is the goal of the game? You got a map of, I guess, Italy.
Italy.
Yeah,
Italy.
And basically, this is during a time where you're governing cities and you're trying to go out and basically increase your influence. That could be done one of 2 different ways, mainly. That's either through annexing, just going into a city and having your power greater than the power that's there in the city. You get to annex it, and you get a token that maybe give you a special ability for that city. Or you can claim one through warfare, where you can. That's what the siege action is, where you can go into a city and try to forcibly take it. And it may be a little bit cheaper to do it through warfare, but if you do that, there's some negative connotations to it. And if you do it through annexing, there's a little bit. It's more expensive, but it's you get a bonus to doing that. And we can talk about what that is in a minute. So that's kind of the goal. You're starting out with a city, you're trying to expand across in Italy, and trying to spread your influence through annexing and warfare.
I'm going to be honest with you. I remember the game, but for some odd reason, it didn't stick with me. And I don't know why that is, because I really enjoyed doing this. Because when you're moving your action selection disc, you are generating the resources that you need to be able to take the various actions that you want to do.
What you mean by that is when you select a card, there's a certain number of icons on the card that's there, and those number of icons that you have is basically the resources you have to spend to take the actions. The more icons you have, the better that action you're going to be able to take. But what's cool, Tony, is over the course of the game, at the end of every round, you're going to be able to go to the market to buy cards. And these cards that you buy can be placed under the action cards on your rondel, which may give you additional resources or icon resources to use on that action. Or you can actually place them off to the side of your board. And you can spin those by flipping them face down to use the icons or resources that are on those cards to help make an action more powerful.
Right. Because when you're there, you're right. You're using the resources provided by the cards where you land, and they're never exhausted.
Right.
And then you can supplement them
with
the cards or the cities that you have annexed or taken over.
Yeah. So you remember we talked about the cities? I was trying to come up with a word with card or board or whatever. It's this cardboard token that has resource icons on it that can also be spent in order to make an action better. And you spend those by placing them face down, which is actually one of the actions is to govern, which is take a certain number of your face down cards and flip them back up. Those annex tokens that you got. So that's how you refresh them to be able to use them again.
Pretty straightforward, but that's how you pay for resources.
But that's the clever part to me. That was the really of creating this engine of like, I need to have a bunch of these type of resources to be able to pull this off. So I'm going to go annex the city, get that city tile. Also, now I have the resources I have to spend. Another thing that's really cool, Tony, is those cards that you can use to put on the side of your rondel board for supplementing. If the card's on the right-hand side, and let's say I've used them and exhausted them, when my rondel piece passes by them going clockwise around the board, they automatically flip face up again. So that's how the cards that are supplementing your actions get turned back face up. So where you place them around your board is strategic too, because you want to make sure that when you get to an action, they are now face up to be able to use them for that action.
That's the govern action. The sponsor action is you're moving up your token on the patronage board, paying those resources. And that's simply unlocking things or getting you victory points.
Yep.
That one's pretty straightforward. One of the biggest things when I say unlocking, you're unlocking a patronage person, an artist or a public work. You have sponsored that. And then those capabilities are coming in and they may give you lasting benefits. Like Leonardo da Vinci, he provides a war bonus.
Yeah.
So when you go out and do war, he's going to give that to you. Or better yet, let's talk about, Nicholas Copernicus provides an additional resource space on your board. You know, where you were talking about those cards, placing those cards, he unlocks one of those spaces for you.
Yep.
So that was simple. I've talked about trade. You've talked about annex.
Yep.
Where you go out and you annex other cities to get those resources. The power of the annex, of course, is the city tile does not come back to you exhausted. Where the war action does wage war, that does exhaust wherever you were.
So getting the city tile face up with annex is a big deal because then you haven't got to spend a govern action to use it. If you get it via warfare, it comes in face down, so it's not even usable till you take your first govern action. When it comes to the warfare, it's kind of a standard warfare thing. You count up your strength versus somebody else's strength. If your strength is higher, you're going to get the city tile, etc.
Scheming is where you put spies out onto the board.
This one ticked me off, you jerk.
Thank you.
This one is really cool, but you ticked me off. Go ahead.
So scheming, you can scheme by putting a spy in a city, which will help reduce your war effort to take control of a city or to annex a city because there's a cost to it. Or you can scheme on someone else's rondel, which blocks them from using a action like the govern, which allows them to flip tiles back over. And they have to use their own scheme action to kick the spy out of their court. Or you can scheme on your board to block somebody from using your blocking one of your actions. So yeah, scheming is that interaction.
Yeah. And so a very simple idea of talking about these resources that you spend. Let's say if I take a scheming action and the cards I have on my scheming action, maybe it shows 2 of the scheming icons. That means I can either remove or place up to 2 of my agents. So I could remove like Tony's agent that's from my board and then maybe place another one. But say I wanted to do even more than that. And those cards I have on the side that help me supplement, if some of those have scheming icons, I can turn those face down and add that to my resource pool to the number of scheming resources that I have. And for every one I have, I can put more agents out on the board or remove other people's agents. So that's kind of how the whole resource mechanic works. Scheming is the cool player interaction portion of this game. There is potentially combat. We didn't do that a lot because combat was costly. Because you had to get a military out on the board. And also, the bigger your military is, you had to feed them.
And even the designer, when he was responding to some of the BGG posts on the forum, he even said that it needs to cost you. It shouldn't be easy.
Right.
I mean, it should be an inconvenience.
It's not super easy. It is an inconvenience.
So after everybody takes an action, you resolve sieges or war. And for instance, let's just talk. The war was probably one of the more complicated things to resolve. So walk through that. But one of the neat things for me about the war was that if I move into a city, you can move your troops into that city as well. And we would battle on the plains. And if one army is still left standing, they could then siege the city.
Right.
Yeah, we did not do that. Certain areas could not be annexed because
Pirates.
They were occupied, the pirates' holdings. So you had to go siege that, and you had to have your ships to be able to move them. So you needed cards with ships. So after all the sieging's done, after everybody took their action, after we resolved all the combat, we are done with our first action. It moves very fast. And then you move into the cleanup or winter phase.
There's also in there to purchase tiles, purchase cards.
Oh, yes.
You can go that's how you basically supplement or make your actions even better. You can go to the market, spin those, and then this is where you can rearrange your board.
That's the winter phase.
Yeah. During the winter phase, you can now rearrange your board. It's like, oh, I just took my scheme action. I really want to take it again. Well, I'm going to shift it so I'll be able to take it sooner this time around. Pick up your cards and move them around, which I loved. I loved that because it made planning easier for the next round.
Right. And one of the things we didn't do it right, because, it's one of these little rules, is about how you, in order to move cards, or when you buy a card, it comes to your side to supplement the palace. You couldn't put it straight in the palace.
Right.
So you always needed a spot for them.
And if it was face down, they couldn't be reorganized.
Right. So you had to plan for that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of strategy, a lot of thought about, okay, on my next turn, I'm going to be doing this movement. So do I want to buy this card? Do I have a spot for them? But by moving the people around the outer edge of the board, you can take advantage of the resources. Mm-hmm. So a lot of things to do during the winter phase or the cleanup phase. And then, you can buy some more troops. You can form alliances, which we did not do. We completely ignored that because our brains were so trying to understand how to do all these actions and moves and to manipulate for our next turn that I just, seriously, this is one of those games that I really want to play again.
Yeah. When you said...
there's so much to discover. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, when you said alliances, people automatically assume it's between players. It's not.
No.
There's a section on the board where you can form alliances with major powers in that regions. And the way you do that is by spending a certain type of resource, if you had them available, to be able to make, quote, an alliance with them, which gives you a special ability. It was just very costly to do that, and none of us had a good resource engine to be able to make those alliances effectively useful.
Overall, once again, we've seen all these type of mechanics and all that, but how they are put together, very interesting, very enjoyable, and enough interaction, I think, for me. It wasn't heavy war. It wasn't always in your face, but the scheming was nice. It gave you that interaction. You had to think through that, how you wanted to use that turn, because you knew that if Marty wanted to go over there and he was going to need his resources and it was my turn, hopefully my scheme would come up and I could go block him. Or if I knew that I needed to get the resources, I needed to do something to keep him off my board. Or, I was going to wage war, so I need to go over to do that. Very intriguing. A lot there.
And like you said at the very beginning, everybody does start out with some different actions in play and in different order, which kind of might help you say what direction you want to go. What do you really want to be very strong in? Maybe you want to be very strong in scheming, or very strong in trading, or be very strong with military power. Right from the get-go, you might decide to really focus heavily on this one action. Go buy cards that give you tons of those types of resources for that action so that you can be very good at it when you take the turn. Again, my thing is, the way that I take my turn is what really makes games interesting to me now. And just like the other games I've praised in the past, this rondelle is really clever. I've done rondelles before, but I've never done rondelles where I can change the order, the actions on them. And I thought that was really cool. And the whole supplementing of resources with cards on the side that would automatically flip face up again once you pass them on the rondelle. Mm-hmm. I thought, to me, that was the sweet part of this game.
Sweet components. It's a super meeple. I mean, the little warriors were cut out with little spears. The schemes were masked. The artwork, beautiful for this game. I haven't heard a lot about this. I think it's still out there on pre-order. And so if you like a type of game where you're, I don't want to say you're by yourself because of the interaction, right? But it's not something where it's a constant, like I've already said. I hate to go back to that, but it's not always in your face. I can do my thing, but I got to pay attention to it. What you're doing. It is
not on pre-order. It is available right now in Miniature Market. It is available there for $62.99, which is a little bit on the higher end for a board game. It is. Like you said, the components are super nice, and I do think there's a lot of replayability in this because you could play every time you could play with the different starter things. You could focus. The market will be different every time. There's a lot of different cards that could affect the market and what cards you use to add to your tableau and everything. So I do think there's decent replayability in this game.
So I'm sorry, did you just say the market's different?
What I'm saying is there's a lot of cards in the market to choose from. So the things that you focus on each time you play could be different based on the cards that you buy.
We mentioned the market, but one of the things is you always have access to all the cards in the market. It's not like a random market's coming up. They're laid out before you. If you want to go, except for one, the Pope, there's only one Pope. Everything else, you can get an Archbishop, whatever you need for that. So once again, it builds to your strategy. They ain't cheap, but you got to think about that.
Yeah.
So once again, that is Virtu from Super Meeple. We both really enjoyed it.
Yeah, don't let this fly under the radar. I do think this is something that you might want to check out, especially if you like. How long did it take us to play? 90 minutes? 2 hours?
2 hours max, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a shorter game than Ark Nova that we just talked about, but very rewarding.
What kicks off the holiday season for us?
Hallmark movies?
Yeah, I guess I was thinking more even...
Before that?
Yeah. Just like October 1st.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. October 1st is like holiday. What is your number one complaint about my holiday wish list? Or not holiday, Christmas wish list. Like you're always, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want for Christmas? What do I always say?
Jewelry.
Like from the time you met me.
Yes.
That has been since I was 5 years old.
Oh.
There are pictures of me with little plastic rings from the gumball machines on every finger.
I miss those. Did you went to the grocery store and stuff? Did you always ask for a quarter so you could go to the machine?
Every single time.
Me too. But instead of jewelry, I wanted to collect the little football helmets or stuff that you would get.
I wanted those big rings that look like, I can picture them in my mind. It looked like a giant sapphire with little pearls around it is what it looked like. I loved those rings. I love jewelry. I love anything with stones. I love anything sparkly. And you know what else I really, really liked?
This is a segue that I'm really digging. What's that?
Splendor Duel.
And why is that?
Because it involves gemstones.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to jump in real quick and say, you would say token. I would say it cost a diamond. And a pearl, and a sapphire, and a ruby, and an emerald, and an onyx.
Dang. And here's the sad part. I probably couldn't name all those. I could probably get emerald and ruby. I would forget blue is what, sapphire?
Yeah.
Black is, I do, yeah. And you would, too. I just, give me a red, give me a blue, give me a black one. I'd buy two of them blacks and one of them white ones over there.
All right, so whoop.
Yes.
We just played Splendor Duel.
Splendor Duel, that is published by Space Cowboys, designer by Marc Andre and Bruno Catala. Now, did you ever play the original Splendor?
I did.
For anybody that played the original Splendor, this game is immediately going to feel very familiar to them because you're spending gems to buy cards. The cards will enable you to have access to or generate more gem resources to buy the more expensive cards for the whole goal of, well, actually, in this game, there's 3 different ways to win, which is one of the reasons why I enjoyed this game. But this game is strictly just for 2-player.
So for me, I remembered the name Splendor, and I think it's been so long since I played it, I actually forgot how.
Mm-hmm.
But there were pieces that I remember. I remembered you would collect stones in order to buy the cards, in order to get your points, crowns, etc. But I forgot the mechanics of it.
Mm-hmm.
So playing this today, like you, I especially liked that there were 3 ways that you could win. It was either by A, getting 20 points from whatever.
From the
color.
Cards, typically. Yep.
10 cards of the same color.
10 points on cards of the same color.
Oh, yes, 10 points, because there were points on the cards, people.
Some of that. Yeah, the more expensive ones. The basic ones didn't get, a lot of the basic ones didn't give you points.
Or
collecting 10 crowns. So here's one thing that's different. There is now a board in the middle of the table, and that board is filled with the gem tokens. So at the very beginning of the game, you fill out the board.
And it would show you how.
Yeah, it kind of goes from a spiral
Like
from the middle of the board.
Can I say that I really like the board? It's a compact game. It's a small game, easy to carry.
Smaller than the Splendor box.
I could put it in my purse.
Yeah, way smaller than the original Splendor, which actually there was a complaint with the original Splendor. It was too much. It was too big for the amount of contents in there.
Oh, no. Yeah.
They've shrunk this down to everything fits compactly into this bag. So anyway, so you pull these gem tokens out of the bag to fill up the board because on your turn, the way you get these tokens is you claim 3 non-gold tokens that are in a row horizontally, diagonally, or vertically. And it can be unbroken. So there can't be a gap between any of the tokens. And you can take up to 3. So anywhere 1, 2, or 3. They just must be adjacent to each other. If there's a gold one there, you can't claim it because that's a separate action in itself.
And are you ready for me to say what that action is?
What is that action?
You can claim a gold. It's not a token, it's gold.
Mm-hmm.
So you can claim a gold and put it on any card and reserve it to
Purchase in a future turn. Mm-hmm. Yep. And that is reminiscent of Splendor. You can reserve cards in Splendor too.
And that, people, was an example of Marty finishing my sentence. We just looked at each other and he knew that I forgot the word purchase. Which should go well with diamonds and stones and purchase, but my eyes glazed.
So on your turn, you must do one of 3 things. Either pick up the tokens, either reserve, or purchase a card that's out on the board, or the one that you have in reserve. And again, just like the original Splendor, you purchase those cards because they can generate gems for you in future turns to buy those more expensive cards. And then at that point, it's a race to one of those 3 victory conditions.
So let me ask you this, because I forgot. You also have some optional turns. Was that in the original Splendor?
No, there was not an optional action because they added these things called privileges. It's 3 tokens that
and
you
they
can
look like
earn.
little squirrels. Scrolls, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And what happens is, how are those earned? Well, one is that board's going to empty. It doesn't automatically refill. An optional thing you can do is refill the board.
And if you do that, the other player gets the privilege.
Correct. There's also, if you take 2 pearls from the board on your turn, well, we found out pearls are pretty important because there's only 4.
No, 2.
Oh, there's only 2. That's right. Yeah.
2 pearls, 4 onyx.
And so if you take 2 pearls, the other person gets a privilege. And the other one is if you take 3 of the same color gems, the other person gets a privilege. So optionally, at the beginning of your turn, you could turn in a privilege to take any non-gold token on the board of your choice. And that's really the only thing that privilege does.
But that was pretty sweet.
That was pretty sweet because you could do that to get just 1 and then on your main turn, grab 3 other different ones.
And you and I kept wanting the other person to fill the board so that the
Yeah.
other person would get the privilege.
Right.
We were trying to get it ourselves.
Yeah. You were hoarding the blacks over there, the onyxes.
We'll get to that in just a minute.
Okay.
So now also on the cards, some of the cards that you purchase have special icons that depict a special movement or action.
Take another turn, claim a gem of the card that you just purchased.
Or take a gem from another player.
Steal it, yeah. Or one was just gain one of the privilege tokens.
Of the same color.
No, a privilege token, the scroll.
Oh,
the
privilege.
scroll.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
All that does make the game feel just a tad different, especially that board. Because used to, on the original Splendor, you just take 3 gems of different colors or take 2 gems of the same color just from the supply out there. This makes it, it's like, the 3 that I want aren't together. So how do I grab the ones that I really need this turn?
So let's talk about our game.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what I did.
Yeah.
I
Hoarded.
We have like 3 levels of cards to purchase.
Yeah.
So say the bottom level, they didn't have points, but you would be able to generate gems just to have in your stock all the time.
Yes.
I was not good at collecting those.
Mm.
You were. I just shot up to the 3rd row and was like, I want that card.
Right.
I want that shiny, beautiful card way up there. What do I need to get it? And it was 8 onyx. So I didn't know at that time, like there were just limited number of each. So I hoarded the onyx, trying to get that big card.
And so basically what that forced me to do is I needed access to onyx.
Yeah.
So then I started buying the cards that gave me the onyx. Now, I played probably more Splendor than what you have. I do remember early on, buy those cheap cards so you have access to a bunch of different types of combinations of gemstones so that you can use those to buy the higher level cards. I knew early on I had to buy those cards early. But in the end, it didn't matter because you won.
But
that just says a lot about my strategy.
Well, but everybody though, I was like, so I knew that I was about to get that card as time goes on, and I was getting more of how to get my resources, and I was like, oh, in 2 turns I'm going to get that one. So I was doing it, and then Marty just said, Vanessa, you can buy this card, and you would win the game. And I was like, what? I didn't get the other big card yet. So anyway, you told me that I could win because I was almost like,
well, it's also because
I don't want to win that way. I want to win with the other one.
But I also just bought a card from that 3rd level, and that new card just happened to come out.
Yeah.
That had
And
the
it just
exact
so
points you
happened that
needed,
and
you had the gems
Yeah.
in place
Yeah.
to be able to purchase it.
Yeah.
So hey, here's the thing is, I do really like this 2-player version. I like the board element. I like the way you have to basically draft your tokens. The little privilege thing of it's the privilege token of giving it to the other person. I mean, it's not that big of a, well, no, I guess it could be that big of a deal because if there's just that one gem that you need to buy a card,
absolutely.
and that doesn't remove your mandatory action. So I could spend a privilege, get that one gem I need, and then on my mandatory turn, buy that card I really want.
So many options for strategies. I mean, I loved every component about it, every task, every
And again,
optional turn.
I've said it many, many times on this show. I love multiple paths to victory because it allows me to kind of change the strategy as I go. Originally, I was going for 10 points in one color. And then as the game went on, it's like, wait a minute, I've already got like 15 points overall. So forget that. Because the cards weren't coming out of the right color I needed to get my 10 points.
And that would make each game unique because they're shuffled in. Because we had at one time, was it 1 row or 2 rows where you had to have a pearl, and we didn't have pearls.
Yep. And we kept looking at each other. Are you going to refill the board? Because we know pearls are in the bag. When you spend your tokens, they go back into the bag. Yeah. And it's like, in order to get these pearls back out, somebody needs to refill the board. It's like, you do it. No, you do it. And the reason why the other person gets a privilege, because the person that refills the board then gets their turn, so they get the fresh pick of a newly filled board.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why they give a little bit of an advantage to the other person for doing something like that.
But with us, there were times when there weren't many tokens in the bag.
Because you were hoarding them all.
I was just hoarding the onyx.
How many times did you have to, you can only have up to 10 gems. And how many times did you have to return gems to the bag because you had too many?
Several.
So the only way I could get gems was to buy the cards and generate the gems.
And he would be like, refill the bag. And nope.
I mean, it's like she had a treasure chest over there, y'all, just full of little gems.
I told you I like my gems and jewelry, so I was. I don't have them in real life, so I had to hoard them in the game.
Oh, all right, y'all. Look, Splendor Duel. I think this is one of those games that once it was over, I think you really liked it.
I did. Oh, I enjoyed it.
I think you enjoyed it as the more we played it and we got into it. So to me, it is different enough from the original.
You said it. I enjoyed it from the beginning.
Yeah.
I enjoyed hoarding my onyx from the beginning because I got them like really quick because I spotted that beautiful card immediately. And I was like Napoleon Dynamite, the lady with the ship in the bottle. I want that. And I tried for it, and I didn't get it because you pointed out I could win the game the step before I was getting it.
Vanessa and I send the animated GIF to each other all the time of the woman going, I want that.
Have you talked about Napoleon Dynamite before?
Every 10 years, I'm sure. The thing is, though, Tony hasn't watched it, or he didn't think it was, or maybe he didn't think it was funny. That's what it was. He didn't think it was funny.
Tony doesn't think anything's funny.
Wow.
I take that back. Sorry, Tony. You do. Yeah. Tony's like, I don't think Marty's and Vanessa's
humor,
low grade of humor is funny. That's what it is. Nope.
Or maybe Napoleon's high grade of humor.
That's what I think. You have to be a very intelligent being to find Napoleon funny.
That's what I think too. But
we are so super smart.
Because we laugh at Napoleon. Oh, okay, wow, this has really gone off track. All right, Splendor Duel. This is from Space Cowboys. It's going to be out very soon. Small box. It really is a good 2-player game. Plays in 30 minutes easily.
Lots of fun.
Keeping this one on my shelf. I won't be getting rid of this one.
No. Lots of fun.
Wizards just released the Warhammer 40k Commander decks for Magic. I got them. It was kind of a pain to get because they were hard to find. Got a good deal. Been enjoying it. What makes it so enjoyable is that over at ultrapro.com, they're sold sleeves for each of the decks that matches the art of the decks, deck boxes that are decked out with in each of the 4 different factions, and play mats for each of the 4 factions. I got the deck boxes and the sleeves. The sleeves are super high quality, as they always are at Ultra Pro. The thing is, though, Tony, if you go and want to order those right now, they're sold out because those Commander decks are super popular and those sleeves are super popular. So you know what you need to do? Just like we always talk about with all of our sponsors, you want to make sure to go follow the newsletter and subscribe to their mailing list, because when these things come out for pre-order, big things like this, like the Warhammer 40k products, you want to get in there and get pre-order so you can get sleeves and everything. But if you're not interested in that, you can always go check out their other high quality products. They're the great sleeves, the binders. This month for October, the color of the month is black, so you can get black deck protectors and black deck boxes and everything. High quality products, high quality way to preserve all your stuff, whether it be card games or sports memorabilia. To find out more, head over to ultrapro.com.
Booba Q is in the books, which is a good thing, because if we had another one like that, I don't think I'd fit in my clothes. That was intense. Good stuff.
That was a lot of eating.
Even the games, maybe I didn't enjoy all of them, but it was fun. The people were fun. We had a great time. But, we can't always get together. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we have to do something remote, like play video games. And by the way, it's your turn in Hex, Hiroshima Hex.
You started the game?
You started the game. I accepted, and now I'm waiting for you.
Oh, I never got... See, here's the thing. I don't always get the update saying it's your turn.
Oh.
Here, I'll take my turn while you talk about Oceans Digital.
Okay. One of my favorite games, board games, is Evolution. I enjoy that. I enjoy the battling of species building. I feel like a mad scientist. Fits right in with the themes around here of the Halloween, where you're trying to get carnivores and you've got all these species that you're building and you're evolving them, things like that. Well, North Star Games released Oceans, and now you can get it on various digital platforms. Well, they are now going to do an upgrade to that so that, you will have the ability to go online with a deck builder that lets people customize Oceans to create their own unique games. Board gamers can now try one of the biggest board games in the past year for free with the Reef and 20 deep cards, free to try, and it's ad-free. That's the big thing. Then there will be a charge that will cost you $3.99 for existing users, or for the full game price of $7.99, you'll be able to pick it up and play Oceans, which, Marty, I'll be honest with you, I have not played Oceans in a very long time. So I'm excited for this.
Yeah, me too. It's one of those things nice thing about games like this is it's games you haven't played in a while. They're easy to kind of get back into if it has a good tutorial, kind of get you back into the flow of the game. I've played Evolution way more than I have Oceans. I've played Evolution a lot, the digital version, on Steam and stuff, and really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to this Oceans digital release.
I like the fact that they're letting people, try this free. You can join one multiplayer game per day. Mm-hmm. There's a way. Is this for me?
So a lot of Switch games are now doing like demos and stuff. So this is kind of a way to demo the game. It's not very expensive. If you want the game, it's only $8. It's not very expensive anyway. But if you want to try before you buy, you definitely have that option with this.
We did an Evolution. Don't we have Evolution for the Switch? I thought we did.
And we've played together on the Switch.
Yes, we have. And now, even though I enjoy this game, I'm not very good at it.
Ah, okay.
But I'm not very good at many games, as evident from our Ark Nova talk. Negative 20 plus points. That's so sad. That's the other reason why I want to get that on the table again. I can do better.
Yeah.
I know I can.
You can.
Oh, and when we talked about the thing, I'll admit, when I got bit by the dog, I got real giddy. because it became a personal game for me to see if I could get on the helicopter.
Oh, that was my goal, dude. That was totally I was trying to play human the whole time and trying to get on the helicopter at the end and go, hey, we made it. And go, no, you didn't.
No. And I was doing my best to throw you under the bus during that game. I was saying, it's Marty. We need to do Marty. So I don't know. That's when I think that game turned for me. Okay. You know, the thing, it just turned for me when I became the alien.
That's when you enjoyed it or didn't enjoy it?
Did enjoy it.
Oh,
started to enjoy it because I now had secret objectives.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I see that. Yeah. Anyway, so Oceans Digital. Yes. That's going to be coming out soon. Also, I got a key to a brand new Switch game that's just now coming out called Warhammer 40K, Shootas, Blood, and Teef. You remember the old video game Contra? Where it's a side scroller shooter. That's exactly what this is. You're playing as an orc in the Warhammer 40K universe.
Nice.
Running around going, wah, and shooting things and just trying to get through the levels and kill a boss. Go watch a trailer for this. The animation in this is so good. It is very cartoonish and comical. It's over the top dialogue. It's funny animation. As you play the game, you can get credits to upgrade your weapons and get different weapons. Again, it's your typical, scroll left to right shooter. It's kind of cool though. You don't necessarily shoot straight ahead. You use the left thumbstick to move, right thumbstick to aim. So you could move to the right but shoot back to the left sort of deal.
Oh, Robotron.
A little bit of that, yeah, but you're still moving left or right. You can't move up and down except by jumping, but it is that same sort of thing. I've been playing today. I went through several levels, killed a couple bosses, upgraded my guns, having a good time. The problem is, at the time of this release, it's not fully released yet. There's 4-player co-op, and I think that will be a blast to get online with 3 other people, and you can play couch co-op, so locally or remote. And I think that would be a lot of fun. It's coming out on Steam and for the Switch. I played it for the Switch. Now, my only issue is this. This is 0.9 version of the game, so it's not officially released at this point, so maybe when it does, it'll be a new version. But it takes 2.5 minutes for that game to load. I thought my Switch was broke. I thought it was stuck. So I shut it down and started it up again, and no, it just takes that long. So I wanted to make sure, is this really correct? So I shut down the game again, starting a timer. Sure enough, it got to the title screen or the main menu. It took 2 minutes and 30 seconds to get to that point. I hope they fix that because that is entirely too long to crank up a game that I want to play.
That is a little long. Well, speaking of long, one of the things that we got to finish this up because I just got on my let's see, when did Rebecca go to college? When was that? When did Adam go to college?
2014. Holy crap. It's been 8 years. It's 2014.
All right. So my 2014-year-old laptop, which was Rebecca's laptop in college, which runs Windows 8.
Sure.
Just gave me, I didn't think they still updated this, says that I've got an update that I need to install here. I didn't know they would support Windows 8 this many years later, 8 years later, but obviously they do. So, I mean, shoot, Google just told me on my Android phone, on my Pixel, that they're going to stop supporting my Pixel 3. So you and I need to wrap this stuff up, dude, soon. Okay? Because I gotta shut down this PC. As a matter of fact, last time we record, somebody got real mad at me because I was late. Because it took my PC almost 10 minutes to reboot.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me and he said, would you just buy a new PC?
I have been on you for well over a couple years to buy a new PC.
I know. And I'm just like, why? Why do I need to buy a new PC? And you come back to me and say, listen, Dell has this incredible deal going on right now. Just go get one. Just spend some of your hard-earned money. Get this new PC. I promise you will enjoy the PC games. I'm like, I got a Switch, Marty. I got a PS5. Why do I need a new PC? Well, you could edit some of the videos you've promised would do for me. Oh, okay, that's fair. Well, I could do that. Oh, and Audacity, I bet, will load up probably in less than 5 minutes, too.
Yes.
Okay. So I did. I bought a new PC.
Woohoo! Woohoo! I'm so excited. Now, it's not here yet. You said it's not going to arrive for another couple weeks, but I am so excited. So we're going to play StarCraft, and we could play like Diablo 4 together. And I've already told you need to go and get Age of Empires so we can do some more RTSs. Oh, there's going to be so many games that we can play. I am so excited. We can play Guild Wars 2 together. Oh, it's going to be like old times.
I just got fitted into the Blue Blood schedule. That's all there is to it.
Okay, that's just Friday night. You have 6 other days to play. We could do late night gaming again. It'll be okay. Late night game be like 8:30 to 9, something like that.
Well, that's true. But what is the most scary thing about getting the new PC is configuring it, right?
Nope. This is gonna, dude. It's been so long since you. What's the last desktop PC that you had? Do you even remember what it was?
It was not a Gateway 2000.
Was it a Pentium machine?
It might have been a Dell. It was a Dell, but it was one of the Dells that required it to have special memory and all that. They had all that stuff.
Yeah, so it was like proprietary stuff. So yeah. We're well beyond that. You're just going to turn it on and it's going to work. There is no setting up. You're going to plug in the monitors. You're going to with Windows 11. Everything's going to set up so nicely. And what's so cool, dude, is when you want to play games. You want to play with mouse and keyboard? You can. You want to play with your PS5? You can configure it to play with it. You want to get the Xbox style controller if you like it? It plugs in and works with it. So you can play with any type of controller that you want.
Wait, so my PS5 will Bluetooth into this then, is what you're telling me?
I don't, Bluetooth or either hardwire in. Yes, one of the two. Yes, 100%. And with the games, with games like God of War, some of the PlayStation 5 are being ported to PC will support the haptic feedback and everything.
I don't know what that is. You just spoke Greek.
What?
Haptic?
Vibrating stuff.
Oh, that scares me.
I am so excited. We can play You got StarCraft remastered, so we can go back and play some co-op StarCraft.
I could actually go back and play some of my Steam games. Company of Heroes. And
Company of Heroes 3 comes out next year. We can play some
new games.
We could play Company. Yeah. Oh, that's true. You don't.
I mean, I've got so many old games. I got Borderlands 2, Borderlands. I mean, I've got a whole bunch of games.
Have you heard of a game called Skyrim? You could play it.
Skyrim. Have I heard of Skyrim? Yeah. I think I'm wounded to the knee. I don't think I own that on the Steam.
Really?
No.
So you don't own a PC version of that?
But why? Because none of my PCs can run.
Oh my gosh. It'd be so funny for the Steam sale, when Skyrim comes out for like less than $10, if you buy it again. That'd be so funny.
I will have it on every platform. Xbox 360, Switch, PlayStation 5, and a computer. I can be on that wagon 7x24.
That's so funny. Oh, this is going to be good. Oh, I'm looking forward to this. Oh, you could play Northgard. You got to buy Northgard.
Yes, I already have it.
Oh, that's right. Oh, you're going to love playing Northgard, dude. Oh, it is such a good modern RTS. And then
I heard that.
And then you'll play the board game and go, this is just like the video game.
And we did that. I just heard it, but I had no reference to it.
Well, now you will.
No, I will. And now you promised me, though, that this PC is easy to upgrade when I have to upgrade it. And see, that's the other thing. Upgrading PCs
you won't have to upgrade for years.
Good. Now, Donna is not happy with the size of this thing.
Why?
She was like, why didn't you get a laptop? She goes, that's going to be a huge tower.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
To make it less expensive, easily upgradable.
Mm-hmm. And I hear I have to run a special circuit for the cooling fans.
No. Who told you that?
Nobody. I was thinking I was going to be mining some crypto or something. There ain't no way I'm doing that.
No, you're going to be good. You're going to be good. Get you a couple of good monitors in there. You will be set, and it'll be nice because you'll be able to just instant on. We can set up and start recording. Oh, it's going to be good.
I am looking forward to it. I am looking forward to getting out of the 2014s with my PC, see what it's all about. I'll admit my work computer, which is 5 years old. Mm-hmm. So, it stays up to date, and it's just all the other stuff that you got to attach to it. Like I don't even know if virus protection is a thing. I think it comes standard now with everything to keep you safe.
Windows Defender's built in.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to it. I'll actually be able to browse on the internet. I hear that's really popular now.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. What game should we play together first? It's going to be so good. All right, you get to pick. You pick whatever game you want to play first.
Okay. Well, maybe it'll be interesting to see what Guild Wars looks like on an advanced graphics.
Oh,
thing.
well, I mean, it's not going to look amazing because the game's 10 years old. I mean, it's not going to blow you away, but it'll look a lot better than and a lot smoother than what you've been seeing.
But your favorite time is coming up for Guild Wars.
This week it starts. Yes. Halloween at Guild Wars. It's time to go see Mad King Thorn. I love going hanging out with him where he does his Mad King Says jokes. I've done it every year since they started, I believe in 2008 or 2009. I visit Mad King Thorn every year and haven't missed it yet.
See, maybe I'll do that. Maybe get on. I think it's about an hour long where he comes and visits and you stand there for an hour.
No, he comes every 2 hours and it only lasts 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yep.
See, you can tell how long it's been there. And does he still go to the Lion's Arches?
Yep, it sure does.
Okay. I'll have to remember that then. All right. With that, I'm getting ready to go search and figure out what kind of switch I need so I can run my monitors on multiple PCs here and roll some dice.
And take some names. I got a special announcement. On October 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, come hang out on our Twitch channels. We stream Critical Foundation with some of our listeners. This is the brand new game coming out from Gigamic that is an introduction to role-playing game. Learn how to be a role player and a GM all within one game. Again, October 28th, 8 p.m. Eastern on our Twitch channel.
Marty, last episode you asked me, are we just going to do dad jokes for the Stingers? And the answer is yes.
Oh, geesh.
Why don't mummies take time off?
Well, at least it's Halloween themed. Okay, why don't mummies take time off? I don't know why.
They're afraid to unwind.